Well, the tight end position is vital for success in this Vandy offense.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Now, as Vandy continues to prep for the bowl game and recruiting the portal and doing everything they're doing this time of year, Vandy has to address many needs like a game-breaking receiver. On the defensive line, they're being super aggressive, and it may pay off with two massive targets. Pun intended. However, in the bowl game and the portal, tight end is vital for success in this Vandy offense. So here's how the tight end position breaks down for Tim Beck in this Vandy offense, right? It is an absolute vital position because the intermediate to short, middle of the field passing game all goes through the tight end. Also, the tight end is an integral part of the blocking scheme. So Vandy needs something twofold, right? And if, in a perfect world, Vandy would go 12 personnel with a big tight end and kind of an athletic guy like what Eli Stowers is. So the importance of this position can't be understated because so much of what their production was because the tight end, Eli Stowers, was what he was. He was a threat in the receiving game. He was a mismatch for a lot of defenders. He was somebody that could get in space. He can make some things happen, and he was somebody that could pick up vital first downs. He understood the offense well enough to know where space was going to be. He could also anticipate things because he actually was a quarterback as well, quarterback coming out of high school. So he had that brain. He's wired that way to see the field and to see the offense and to see things developing pre-snap that not many players can see. And that helped him in his game. And it helps that he's super athletic and he's tall and all that good stuff. So what Vandy ended up doing, and they may do this if they get like a game-breaking slot receiver or if they get that alpha receiver that can stretch the field. But what they did a lot was they involved the tight end a lot in the screen game. They involved the tight end even some in as the pitch man. Like Eli Stowers was the pitch guy in the as the third option in the triple. So if they can get another guy like that, which there's a guy out there in the portal, if they can get another guy like that, that would be outstanding. So just in a general sense, the tight end in this position is such an important position. But as far as specifically for this matchup with Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech struggles with the tight end position. When Georgia started utilizing their tight end in that game, that's when Georgia Tech's defense started to struggle. That's when you saw them, inch back into the game, Georgia that is, and force that overtime. So Georgia Tech will struggle against a mismatched tight end. Like Lawson Lucky gave them fits. Oscar Delp gave them fits. And other tight ends throughout their season, the teams that had good tight ends were able to have some success moving the ball down the field. Now with Vandy, I think much is going to be the same. I really like what they can do in the screen game where they run that split zone look where they leak them out to the other side in the flat. I really like that action there where it's kind of an option and you can just reach out there and dump it to him. I like him sitting in the middle of the field, running like a deep stop. I like him running crossing routes and like a mesh pattern. So a lot of things that they can do with Eli Stowers is outstanding and gives this offense a lot of firepower, lots of weapon, lots of possibility because there's not a ton of people that can cover him. And if they have to dedicate a corner, that means some wide receiver is going to be mismatched. Somebody's going to be mismatched on the field if they have to account, or there's going to be some space opened up because they have to account more for what Eli Stowers can do to him in the passing game. So, and he's also a great blocker too to boot. So it's not like he's one of those receiving tight ends that is kind of a liability in blocking. where like if you got a 6-man run block scheme, he's going to be, you might as well just be blocking with 5. He's not that kind of guy. He's somebody that can hold his own at the end of the line of scrimmage as well, and hold his own out wide, split out as a wide receiver as well. So he's a utility guy, Swiss Army knife. So the importance of him in this bowl game can't be understated. And I think Vandy's offense goes kind of as he goes because he's Pavia's safety net. He's somebody that's just going to patrol the middle of the field and give Pavia options all from hash to hash and in and around the ball. So I really like the way the tight end is utilized in this offense. But I also don't know. I also don't know on the flip side of that. I also don't know, because the tight end is used so much, I don't know if that means that the receivers aren't good enough to kind of chip in, or if it's really like what's tipping the balance on the scales here? Where's the production lacking because the tight end is so heavily involved, or is it just because that's the focal point of their offense? I feel like it's the focal point of their offense, and the other guys are just trying to play catch up. But you never really know. But Eli Stowers, he's thinking about coming back. Yeah, you heard that right. He's thinking about coming back. And that would be huge for this offense, because if he can come back, if Diego Pavia can win his case and come back, I think this offense, they add a piece here, a piece there, some pieces along the offensive line. They get a chance now to focus a lot of their portal targets on guys that can help Pavia and Stowers, like an alpha receiver and a big-time offensive lineman, or a few offensive linemen, that is. So this would be an important decision here for Stowers. I think there's benefits to both, honestly, and with him staying, he can develop and get some more tape for the NFL, not be in such a rush, because he is still kind of a developmental guy at that position. He's still learning a lot of the nuances to playing tight end. And I don't know just how well Vandy's offense prepares tight ends for the league, but he's somebody that could benefit from his last year of college instead of foregoing it for the NFL draft. I could see that being a really, really positive thing. Also, if he decided to go to the NFL, I could also see him being a contributor on a team that features more than one tight end. So you're starting to see that a little bit around the league, where like you have teams like the Vikings, the Chiefs, the Falcons, even the Titans, and a lot of these teams are utilizing 2 tight ends, right? It's not just one guy like it used to be. Like you'd have Tony Gonzalez and that's it. Like the backup tight end would never see the field except for if they go in some jumbo package and they need him in the backfield to block, right? You would always see the first tight end would be heavily featured, and then the next tight end. But now you're starting to see they're starting to stack depth at that tight end position to where they can go 12 personnel and they can move guys around and not really lose much, right? Noah Gray is just as well. Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends to ever play, but this season he's been super impactful despite sharing the field with Travis Kelce and Jonathan Mund. In Minnesota, him and TJ Hawkinson are coexisting, and they're actually getting equal stats. They're starting to get some production out of Kyle Pitts down in Atlanta, but I mean, there's some tight ends that are, the tight end position is evolving a little bit in the NFL, and they're needing some more athletic guys, and they're needing some more bodies there too as well. Some guys that are willing to block and good enough to play as a receiver. So Eli Stowers could come in and be a second tight end on a team like the Rams or the Chargers or the Falcons or somebody that needs it, and really be a good contributor. But then again, if he stayed a year, he might have a chance to go in an earlier round and become a early tight end 2, possible ascension to the starter role, to the tight end 1 slot, and be a force for a team in the league. So whatever he decides to do, I think will be the right move for him. Sometimes you get in these situations where it's like, okay, it's a no-brainer for this guy. If he comes back to college, he's stupid. Or the flip side, if he leaves for the NFL draft, he's going to go in the 7th round, get cut, and wish he had come back to college. So there is, there's those situations. But for Eli, I honestly, I could see it going both ways. I could see the benefits in him coming back to college because he could certainly use one more year of development at that position, and also take advantage now, strike while the iron's hot, and jump into the NFL. So what does that mean for portal? Well, I think at this point, Vandy has to operate recruiting like Stowers is not going to be there, because even if you add a star at the position, I don't know if a star would be attractive, but if I'm a star tight end and I see how they use the tight end position, I'm not scared of that at all, because you get in 12 personnel, you could end up taking over the game, right? Kamarian Pimpton is a name that comes to mind from LSU. He's got star potential at the tight end position. He's somebody that I think would fit in great in this offense because he can do a lot of what Eli Stowers does. And just imagine you get him in the fold, and then Eli Stowers commits, and then next thing you know, you've got two really good tight ends, and you can go 12 personnel and create some mismatches, and now you're off and running. So it's a matter of, I just think at this position, you can't be scared to go and recruit big names because Eli Stowers might come back. Because at the end of the day, the NFL is a pretty appealing thing. And when he gets his draft grade back, if he gets a third, fourth rounder, he's probably gone, right? The only thing that I think would keep him here would be if he got like a 6th or 7th round grade. I think he comes back if he gets a low NFL grade, right? Because what's the point of going 7th rounder undrafted when you can come back for another year and probably make more money at NIL than you would as a 7th round rookie on the practice squad, right? So there's those options to consider. But regardless, I don't think Vandy should be any less. I don't think Clark Lee should be any less aggressive in recruiting tight ends because of that. Because you're afraid of running off Eli Stowers, or you're afraid to recruit because you don't think these guys are going to come see you. Make them believe. Like you can get to Pimpton, or you can get to some of these other tight end targets out there and say, listen, I know Eli Stowers may come back, and if he comes back, here's how we plan on using the tight end position. All right, if we have two studs at that position, we're going to have no choice but to use them. That's the way it's going to go. Like they're not stupid. They're going to go with their personnel. If their best personnel is 12, they're going to use it, right? If their best personnel is 11, well, they're going to figure out a way to rotate those guys and then rotate into 12 personnel some too, right? They're going to mix and match. So to think this is going to, it's cut and dry. Like if Eli Stowers is coming back, a game breaker won't come. I think that's a little out of touch. So, but I like the way they're recruiting. I like the way they're recruiting on the defensive line. I'll tell you about that next. Hey, you ever had a frustrating ticket buying experience? Well, if you use Gametime, you won't have that, right? Because Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets, right? Gametime Picks, I just talked about it. It makes it easier to save more on sports, comedy, and theater. They curate the best deals for particular events, and on your homepage you get like a series of those, and it makes it outstanding, right? And they have all-in pricing too, which if you toggle this feature on, it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. That's just straightforward, man. You got to love that. And seat views, this is my favorite feature here. You get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. It means you know what you're going to see before you buy it. So if you buy a bad ticket through Gametime, that's on you. The lowest price guarantee means Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a lower price. They're challenging you to do so. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Take Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. It's spelled right down here. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Also, speaking of Gametime, right? You're searching through thousands of tickets. You're searching through all your deals, and you just get that crick in your neck, right? Well, you should go to Joint Chiropractic and get that worked out, right? Because they can get you realigned. They can get you feeling right. Okay, you walk out of there and you just feel light on your feet, right? That was my experience. But they have over 900 locations nationwide, so the likelihood of one being near you is pretty good, right? So you should go visit one. It'll change you. I promise you. It will change your life, okay? And if you follow me on Instagram at LockedOnVandy, if you follow the show, really, you'll start to see some of those experiences as I start to go more. So this is going to be a great experience for me. I think it's going to be a great experience for you if you join the Joint Chiropractic. Right. And I visit the Bellevue office in Bellevue, Tennessee. But if there's one near you, go to it. And it will change your life. I promise you. You won't regret it. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Make sure you check out Locked On SEC as your second listen. Chris Gordy does a phenomenal job. Our squad show is it's not live, but it's available now. And so it dropped. So check that out. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes it's hard to get a word in edgewise with that crew. You get some passionate guys in there and they get going on a topic, and next thing you know, it's just like the segment's passed, and you haven't really said anything. You're just kind of like decoration in there sometimes, but it's a lot of fun. Anyway, speaking of a lot of fun, I think Vanderbilt's going to have a lot of fun on the defensive line because, they're getting super aggressive. And the first domino that fell was the edge rusher, Keanu Coate from Alabama. I think I think you can see where their effort is as far as trying to improve that defense. I think what they saw in the Tennessee game was just kind of an elevated version of what they've been seeing all year long, which is their defensive line. They had some talent. They had some great play, and those guys maximized their ability. But they just didn't have that. They just didn't have that game wrecker, like that one dude that you're just afraid of, and everybody has to game plan around. They didn't have that. They had to do that by committee. Now, Glenn Seabrooks became a guy that made plays here and there. He flashed. And I certainly think he's going to be a hell of a player. I think, there's a lot of other guys there as well. But to shore up that position, I think puts you in a really good position moving forward to continue this trend of success. So a couple guys have visited. Texas A&M transfer Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. I feel good about him coming, right? Belichick going to UNC, I think that team's in play as well. But what I really like about him, 6'3", 310, played at Texas A&M as a redshirt sophomore, so I think he has, 2 to 3 years of eligibility left. I think 2 years maybe. But this guy is, you watch Texas A&M, this guy's super impactful, man. And what I really like is one of the goals that they're trying to go for is that interior pass rush, right? They want to push the pocket from the inside. They noticed that they couldn't get much from the inside. Anything they got pressure-wise on the quarterback came from the edges, came from the outside. They had to come from the outside and hope that their defensive line could get enough push to push the pocket to where the quarterback would get trapped and those edge guys would make the play. But what they were missing was the guy pushing from the interior and forcing the quarterback one way or the other right into those edge guys, right? Or getting a sack or walking into a sack themselves. Like Linus Zunk was good. Those guys, Glenn Seabrooks, but they just weren't those game changers. So this is something that I think you get a lot of you get a lot of ability at this position. You get a lot of talent here. You get a guy that has really good hands, is fast off the ball and strong, and can really play this position, and really is kind of an NFL level guy. So I'm really excited about this one. I think the chances are good, and I think that with the aggressive nature of which they're going to offer this guy a scholarship, or actually a good NIL deal. I say scholarship like it's like an old school thing, but I think this one fires me up as well. Also, there's another guy I think you need to watch out for, and that is Michael Diotta, defensive tackle from Virginia. I think he has 2 years eligibility, maybe. Yeah, he has 2 years eligibility remaining. A guy that played at Virginia. He's a local product, played at Cane Ridge, and he redshirted, but he had some pretty good stats last season: 31 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a half of a sack. He's again a guy that can be a disruptor within this defensive line. Somebody that I think if you get one or two guys to join the mix, I think you get a mix of guys that you don't have to rely on just one, unless that one guy becomes a game breaker or a game wrecker, and that guy becomes the guy. Brownlow Dindy can be that marquee guy. I think Diotta has every bit of that potential as well. He's a little bit lighter, but he is taller at 6'4", so he's a little bit longer. Maybe he would fit in as one of those edge, or not edge guys, but like those defensive end 4 technique roles when they go odd front, and could be possibly a 5 technique or a 3 technique if they get into a 4 front or an even front. So I really like what they're doing at the defensive line. Being aggressive at this position is amazing, right? Because it shows that they take pride in winning the trenches. They understand. Clark Lee understands that it's not just about getting flashy corners and game breaking guys. They had success with Corday Sidnor out of the portal last year. They addressed defensive line. They had success. Zaylen Wood, when healthy, he was also successful. When him and Sidnor were in the game at the same time, those guys were good. Like they couldn't, like it was good, right? And you get Zaylen Wood back from injury. He's going to be healthy, hopefully healthy for the bowl game. But you get more and more depth to that position. You start to go from, hey, this position's pretty good, to holy crap, like they're a force to be reckoned with. And this is something that we do not like to game plan for. So keep that in mind. Keep that be on the lookout for those two guys. We might get both. Be on the lookout for that. But game-breaking receiver, alpha receiver, I think is somebody that's much, much needed in the portal. We'll talk about why next. All right, welcome. This episode is presented by FanDuel. Yeah, that's right. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Also, Creve Hall Bagel. Make sure if you like breakfast sandwiches, if you're in for a good bagel, Creve Hall Bagel is the way to go. Creve Hall Bagel is a game changer when it comes to breakfast sandwiches, and you cannot go wrong there. The sourdough bagel, it turned me, right? It turned me. So Creve Hall Bagel Company, man, locally owned. Phenomenal bagel. So make sure you check them out as well. So don't be afraid to visit them if you need. All right, wrapping up this show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. Thanks for being a part of the family. Follow the show at Locked On Vandy. You can follow me personally at Coach Burton36 if you'd like. But this show is on to some new adventures here. Gotta love what's happening here, and gotta love the support. I appreciate each and every one of you for supporting the show. Talking about transfer portal stuff. One of the big needs, I think, coming into the portal season, obviously offensive line is there. That's a big need, literally and figuratively, and they're in on a tackle from UNC, Andrew Rosinski. And he would be a guy that could come in, developmental guy with a potential to earn a starting spot at like a quick tackle position. He comes in a little bit light at 300 pounds for SEC play, but he's somebody that can come in with Coach Steiner and get in strength and conditioning and bulk up, get stronger, bigger, stronger, faster, all that stuff, get SEC ready. But what they really need, and I talked about this, is, to improve the passing game. I said this on the squad show too. They need to improve the passing game overall. I talked about it earlier in the show with tight end. I think for this offense to really take off, you get a really good tight end that can patrol the middle of the ball or middle of the field. Can be the possession guy, the curl guy, somebody that's going to run a crossing route, somebody that's going to be involved in the RPO, whether it's like a quick screen across the formation, things of that nature. But what's lacking in this offense and what's keeping defenses from just crowding the line of scrimmage and even crowding the box and saying, okay, Vandy, throw it deep because you can't do it, right? But if they get a guy with elite SEC speed, they can, right? Maybe it's one of the freshmen. Maybe it's one of the redshirt freshmen. Maybe it's Tristan Brown. Maybe it's Joseph McVay. Maybe, Junior Sherrill steps up. He's more of a slot guy anyway. Maybe it's somebody that we signed from the high school ranks, right? But there's some offers out there. One of the offers I talked about earlier briefly, Caleb Goody, I think would be somebody that really works at that position. I really like what he brings to the table from Colorado State. I think he's gettable. There's some of these other big time receivers, like Dane Key, Barryon Brown. They're going to end up at the Ole Misses and the Georgias and the, Ohio States of the world, the Oregons of the world. Like I think those guys are going to end up there. So there's no need in really talking about them. We know what they can do, but we know they're also going to end up at those places. But, I think Caleb Goody's a name that I think he's somebody that I think would just love to get in the SEC. I think he would love to get a good NIL deal. And I think he'd love just to get some good tape so that when he goes to the NFL, he has a chance of actually catching on. And he's somebody that can. He's somebody that does have the speed. He has the catch radius. He has the ability to make plays in contested catch situations as well, and somebody that could really take the lid off the offense. But that's what Vandy needs. Vandy needs somebody that it's 3rd and 6. I need you to run a 7-yard curl, and you're going to go get the ball. And this ball, you're going to catch this ball no matter where it is, no matter who's on you, no matter how much traffic is around you. That ball is yours, all right? Or we've got 1st and goal from the 15 because we just got backed up, and we need to put it on Pavia needs to put it on the back pylon, and we need a big play because momentum is slipping quickly. So we're just going to put it up on the back pylon. You're going to go get it. We need that guy. We need that guy that's going to go get it. And whether that's Caleb Goody, whether I don't know who that is. There's, the guy from Pine Bluff, Gibson, I think is, forget his name. I talked about him earlier in the week. But, whoever it is, I think when you evaluate that position, you need to see, okay, does this guy have a little bit of height? Can he run? Can he make big plays in big situations? And will he get separation? When you evaluate it, that's what you need, okay? They've got a good slot guy in Junior Sherrill. Junior Sherrill's shifty. He can do a lot of things from the backfield. He can return kicks. He's a slot guy. Slot guy is a utility player, and a slot guy is somebody that can do a lot of different things. Probably can catch you in slant routes. Can occasionally beat you deep in the seam, run posts over the middle. Kind of had that layered concept with the tight end, where the tight end runs a crosser and the slot guy runs like a deep. I don't want to say post, but it's kind of like a lazy post. But, some of those things, like what can you do at the slot position? But they need a guy that can go on the outside and say, okay, we need you to run a fade. We need you to run a deep post. We also need you to run a slant on the outside. And when that ball hits your hands, you're catching it. No questions asked. That's what they need. That's what they need to evaluate. I think Caleb Goody, if you can sign him, that is going to be your alpha guy. And then somebody else on the roster needs to step up. Easy as that. That's going to do it for us for the week. When we come back, barring one of the topics I want to discuss is, does Vandy need to be aggressive at quarterback in the portal, or is what they have on the roster good enough? Like, is Jeremy St. Hilaire, does he give you a better chance? I think he's the best quarterback on the roster outside of Pavia. Does he or Judicki or whoever, do the current quarterbacks give you a better chance than who's in the portal at this point of guys that you're realistically going to get? I want to answer that question next week. All right. But stay tuned. I will answer that question next week. Plus, I'm sure there's going to be some portal commitments to drop because Vandy's going to have a ton of visitors this weekend. So stay tuned for that. Bowl prep stuff. Stories going to come out about that. And we're going to have another fun week next week. But this week is over. We hope you have a great weekend. Be careful. Be safe. Anchor down. Peace.